All right, in this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Uh, I'm going to be sharing some of the concepts that are in this book, specifically how to close more sales. And this book tells you how to capture more internet leads, how to create quality appointments, which is very important because you don't want people ghosting on you, and then also how to close more sales. So I'm going to be dealing with how to close more sales specifically. One of my giftings is I'm a pretty good note taker. So if you're not sure if you want to buy this book, I don't make a nickel off of selling these books. This goes directly to Chris Smith and his company Curator. If you're curious about the company, go check it out. But I love reviewing books, and like I said, I consider myself a pretty good note taker. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a summary when it comes to the sales portion of this book. What else can I say? I have a jujitsu seminar this weekend, and it's taught by Kieran Kachuk. He's the number one grappler in Canada, period. And in my humble opinion, this guy is going to be like the number one grappler in the world. He is that amazing. The stuff he taught us yesterday, mind blowing. Triangle chokes, Kimuras, all kinds of stuff. Like just today, we're going into leg locks. So that's going to be fantastic. And we got him to come to our club, which is pretty cool. Anyways, the reason why I mentioned that is I was the only one that brought my notebook. I like to take notes. That's what I like to do. So hopefully you'll get a kick out of this and you'll get something out of this. So I'm going to be using my handy dandy notebook, refer to some of my notes. I'm going to share my screen, draw some diagrams, all this kind of stuff. And hopefully this will make sense to you at the end of the day. And my goal, of course, is to help you close more deals by the end of this video. Hopefully this will be a bit of a resource for you that you can come back to. If you want to know more details, just go buy the book. Go buy the book. It's like $25 US, 30 bucks Canadian. I liked it so much, I bought the book. I bought the audio file on Audibles, and then I also bought the digital copy as well, so I can just read it whenever I want on my phone. So let's just go to this part here. So Chris talks about, he used to work for a gentleman that owns the name of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I forget the guy's name, but he's a billionaire. So Chris used to work for him. The first thing that he was taught was this box right here. And this. This box is everything. If you can understand this, this will make you a lot of money right out of the gate. So what is this box? This box represents the number of sales calls that you take on a daily basis, and the number of closes that you do. Nothing else matters. So anything outside of this box is basically excuses. You have to keep excuses outside the box because they don't fit in here. The only thing that fits inside this box is your numbers. So when your manager approaches you and says, it looks like you had 10 calls this week and you closed one, that's not very good. We expect you to close, let's say, 7 or 8 calls. And if you have another week like that, I'm afraid we're going to have to let you go. Well, I had to look after my dog, or I had to go pick up my wife from the airport, or we're on holidays, or whatever it is. That doesn't fit in there. So you have to get rid of all your excuses, and you have to rely on the numbers. So if you work for yourself, like I do, You look at your numbers, you look at how many calls you make, and that'll be a reflection of, first of all, of how much money you actually make. So if you have 0 calls in the week, you're going to make nothing. If you have 2 calls and you don't close any of those, you're not going to make anything. But if you have 10 or 20 calls in a week, you have a better chance of making money. I know. This is common sense. I know. But I'm going somewhere with this. Okay, so that's the first thing that Chris talks about in his book. So let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, yeah. Here's a model that he lives by. Yes is not an accident. And I might end up making this a 3-part or 4-part series, because I think this is going to be a long video. Yes is not an accident. This is a motto that you need to write down somewhere, have a sticky note. Yes is never an accident. People don't say yes to your product or service accidentally. Already, this is probably worth hundreds of dollars, just what I've shared so far. Another thing that he mentions is excuses are easy, making money is hard. It is hard. If anyone tells you that making money is easy, they're trying to sell you something. All right. It's hard. But there are ways that you can actually crack the code. The easiest way is to buy this book, The Conversion Code. All right. So Chris draws a diagram. And if you get the audio version, you'll get a PDF that has this type of a diagram. But because you don't have the book, I'm going to draw it for you right here. And I share some of this concept in one of my earlier videos. I'll draw this here. This is a little, pretend this is a little clock. Okay. This is a stopwatch, whatever you want. And when you jump on the call, let's just say this is 2 hours, 120 minutes. Okay. Just use that as an example. Right here is when people are emotionally bought in. That's what this side of the line represents. And this side represents time. We just use 0 to 2 hours because most people don't chat on the phone for more than 2 hours. All right. And then here, this is the money line right here. Once you get a person to this part where they're emotionally bought into what you are selling, can I change the color? I think I can. Once they're emotionally bought in, they will pay once they get past this magical line. They're going to pay. If you are trying to close them right here within the first 5 or 10 minutes, this is why people are hanging up on you, is because you're trying to close too early. If you close too late, as in your phone call is approaching the 2-hour marker, at the end of it, they're like information overload. You're losing deals because your phone calls are running too long. Ideally, your calls should be 20 minutes to 60 minutes. And again, this is all based on stats. This is all in the book. If you don't believe me on anything, just read the book. Some people like Matt Ryder, for example, can close people in like 20 minutes or less. Other people, depending on how much your product or service is, if your product or service is $10,000 or above, chances are your phone call is going to be over 60 minutes, and it might be 2 calls, it might be 3 calls. But if it's less than $10,000, 60 minutes is probably a good benchmark. If it's $2,000, you could probably do it within 20 to 40 minutes, but you don't want to rush through it. Because again, statistically, the longer you have the person on the phone, the greater the chance that they're going to be emotionally bought in to what it is that you're selling. Think about it. If they hang up in the first minute, you're doing something wrong, or they were never, they don't know why they signed up for your call. They can't remember giving you the email. They can't remember giving you their phone number, whatever it is. And I'll explain this, I'll just give a little snapshot as to the reason why this is happening. It's because, let me just erase this here. Hate to erase this whole thing, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. The reason why you're losing calls is because when someone, let's just say, for example, trying to draw a phone here. Here's the phone. Oh, I am brutal at drawing a phone. What kind of a phone is this? This looks like a walkie-talkie. This is brutal. I am a terrible artist. That's supposed to be a phone. What kind of a phone is this? This is from the 80s. Anyways, pretend that's a walkie-talkie. Okay. So you get a lead that comes in from the internet. Get your lead in. Again, this is all in the book. You get your lead. You start the timer once you get that email. Start the timer. If you can get a hold of the person within the first 5 minutes, the chances are, if you do the perfect phone call, the perfect script, everything falls in place, all the planets line up and stuff, there's a 80% chance that the person is going to go with you because they go with the first person that calls them. Think about that for a second. If you wait 10 minutes and someone else beat you to the punch, chances are they're going to go with them, especially if they're better than you on the phone. If you wait 20 minutes, let's say 20 to 1 hour, it goes down to about 60%. It's ridiculous. It's almost 50-50 if you wait that long. Now, imagine waiting. I'm not talking about booking calls. I'm talking about they go to your website, they fill out a form, and they want to talk to someone, and you wait 2 to 3 days before you talk to them. If you are a Matt Ryder, you're going to have a 20% chance of winning that person over because they're not going to remember why they signed up. You have to have a conversation. You have to have a text. You have to have a response for sure within an hour of when they filled out that form. But if you're not good and you wait 3 days and you say, hey, this is Double My Income Society, I noticed that you filled out a form about 3 days ago, you're not going to get a response. You're not going to get them to answer the phone because they've moved on already. They probably checked out 3 or 4 other websites, and that person was on the phone with them and probably closed the deal. So this, again, this is all in the book. So you're doing yourself a disservice by leaving your leads too long in the incubator, if you will. If you look at your email box and you see that an email has been unopened for 2 or 3 days, that's not a good chance. You're not going to be able to close them. It's very difficult, I should say. So why not respond to them? Doesn't mean you need to get them on the phone within 5 minutes. If you can do that, your rate is going to be right here. But sometimes you need a little bit of time. Maybe you're on the phone with someone else. That's no problem. That's where you have a virtual assistant to be able to respond to every lead that comes in right away. And then they can book a sales call for you on your calendar. And then all you're doing is you're just on the phone. Right. So hopefully that makes sense. Apologize for that phone. I don't know what else thinking with that. It looks like a walkie-talkie. So now we got that out of the way. Let's talk about why it's important to get a hold of people within the first 5 to 20 minutes. And how do you be effective when you actually get a hold of them within 5 to 20 minutes? Well, Chris talks about he calls it a pre-stock PreCall. Right here. PreCall, pre-stock, PreCall stock. This is why I have notes. What does that mean? That means when you get a lead in, you go onto Google, you type in their email address in Google, and then it takes you to all their profiles, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, who knows what. But then all of a sudden you get a whole gambit of information about this person and you look them up. It's called a pre-call stock. Why am I lowering my voice? I'm not sure, but it feels appropriate to whisper right now because you're stalking them. Ethically, of course. I'm not talking about going knocking on their door or anything weird like that. Don't be a creep. But you need to do a pre-call stock. So you do a Google search. If you're not comfortable using their email or you're lazy, just type in their name in Google. But chances are they only have one email address for that person. You do the search, you find their company, you find their postings on LinkedIn and whatever, and maybe you find out they're in Denver, Colorado, and you're like, hey, I noticed you respond with your email. Or you call them, especially if they left the phone number, you call them up. Hey, I noticed that you're at a seminar or a session in Denver, Colorado. I saw your post on LinkedIn. Cool. I know you don't have time to chat right now, but I just want to introduce myself and then see if there is a fantastic time to chat. Does tomorrow work for you? Something like that. So that's the pre-call stock. That's why you need 5 to 20 minutes to do this. Ideally, do your search within 5 minutes and you got enough information as you're dialing them on the phone. The next thing that we'll get into is you need to be able to control the call. Control the call right out of the gate. This is why people are hanging up on you, because you're not controlling the call. Okay, you need to be able to control the call. You got to gain control right away within the first 60 seconds. So how do you do that? Well, say they filled out a form, for example, Chris mentions real estate. Maybe somebody's looking for a price on a home or whatever, and you can just say, hey, this is Shane. I noticed that you just filled out a form about a house at this address, 155 Palm Street, and the value of the home is this. Notice that you're interested in this, and I have some information for you about this home that isn't available online. If you have a pen and paper, I would like to share with you some of that information. Let me know when you're ready. That's it. It's pretty straightforward. You're basically acknowledging that they filled out a form about the home. Usually the price of the home is right there on the form or on the website. And you acknowledge that they are looking at this and they're curious, and you tell them that you have information that they can't find anywhere on the internet. And you just tell them, grab a pen and a piece of paper, pen and a notepad, and let me know when you're ready. That's how you take control of the call. That makes sense? Gain control. That's page one. That's page one. Right. So the next thing, and I'll probably wrap this video up with this next point, and then I'll make another video because I do have to get ready for the seminar, the jiu-jitsu seminar that's coming up, but hopefully this will make sense. So if you don't take control of the phone call, usually what happens is you're going to run into a brick wall. So I could draw a brick wall nice. What is the brick wall? Think of it like when you walk into Walmart or a Source or a, I don't know, whatever it is, linens and things or something. You're walking in there and the salesperson comes up to you, a furniture store. This is notorious for this, or a dealership. You walk in and a sales guy comes up to you, salesperson, walks up to you and says, do you know what you're looking for? Can I help you? Can I be of service? I see you looking at that car. Do you want to take it for a test drive? You know, can I help you? What's the first thing that you say? No, thanks. I'm just looking. I'm just looking. So when you, even after somebody books a phone call with you, their brick wall is going to be up automatically. Trust me on this one. Their walls come up. Their guard goes up. They don't want to be closed over the phone. They want to be able to buy, but they don't want to be sold, if that makes sense. So when you get on that phone call in the first 60 seconds, you have to take control of the call because they're going to have a brick wall. They're going to be saying something like, oh, I just wanted to know the price of the home. Or I just wanted to know how much you charge for building a website. I just wanted to know how much your coaching is. That's it. I just wanted to know how much this car was for sale. I just wanted to look around. I just wanted to know how much this furniture is. That's it. I'm just looking. That's all. Can you just give me your price? That's it. So that is their instinctive reaction to get you off the phone because they want control. So the way to handle that is what Chris calls acknowledge, respond, pivot. He calls it ARPing. Acknowledge, respond, pivot. Because your goal is to get around the wall. A rookie salesperson will try and blast through the wall and busted. Like, look, dude, you actually booked this call and my time is valuable and you're wasting my time right now. So let me do my sales pitch. Can you let me do my sales pitch? Because I don't want to waste your time and I surely do not want you to waste my time. No, that's stupid though. Don't do that. Instead, what you need to do is you need to ARP. You need to acknowledge, and you need to respond, because you need to have a response for it. Acknowledge, respond. You need to have a response, and you need to pivot. Respond and pivot. So how do you do that? And I'll wrap this up. This will be part one. How do you pivot? So you acknowledge, oh, you want to know the price? That's no problem. You can talk about that. And then you just jump into your conversation. Is it, and then you respond by saying, is it because you, like, say, for example, they're looking at some furniture, just throwing this out. Is it because you are empty nesters, or is it because you're moving to a new home? You have to have a response. So you just say, that's no problem. Acknowledge it, and then you respond. That's no problem. Is it because you're moving? You got to ask these questions, and then you pivot. So then what you can do is you could say, well, like, say, for example, they ask specifically, I just wanted to know the price. It's like, it's no problem. Depending what you're looking for, you could do a price range. You could say it's this, or you could say it's, the furniture here is pretty expensive. Again, I'd like to help you out and see if this is even a fit for you. So that's one of the ways that you could do it as well. So you don't want to say something like, oh, it's within your budget, because you don't even know what their budget is. But if they're into a boutique furniture store, it's like, yeah, well, for some people, this furniture is expensive. It's the truth. But then you just pivot and you ask them basically what the reason is. Why are they looking for this type of furniture? And you just get into it. So hopefully that helps. If you got something out of this, let me know in the comments. If you like this type of thing, I will continue to make my series, because I have tons of pages of notes. And again, if you don't have this book, I highly encourage you, if you want to get my help when it comes to coaching, sales, anything like that, just visit my website, doublemyincomesociety.com. My goal is to help you double your income in as fast as possible. So there you go. If you're watching this video, also do not forget to subscribe. I appreciate it. And I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.